No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for April 14th, 2023. Shout out to the early birds, Walter Cruz, Brian Spencer, CC Drink, Darren G, Domestic Butler, Matthew, and of course, Endeavor representative who sent in a $10 super chat. So thank you for that. Endeavor representative says, we can't wait to fire 90% of the roster besides the Bloodline, Cody Rhodes, and Seth Rollins. I would not pay to see a single person if they were next door and tickets were $5. Matt Riddle is first on my list. Geez, what did Riddle ever do to you, Endeavor representative? Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Moderator Cleaver Colin Andrew is in the house tonight. Shout out to Colin. We kicked off SmackDown with the tag team champions, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Crowd was chanting for Sami. They talked about their WrestleMania win, how they did not have time to process it because a lot has been going on. We have the draft coming up. They brought that up. The Bloodline showed up. Jey Uso said that KO and Sami don't know about pressure. Zayn responded by saying that the Usos do have pressure of having to report to their daddy, Roman Reigns. Jimmy said the Bloodline is stronger than ever. They will become champions again. Jay said that they'll just turn against each other, KO and Sami will. A huge fight broke out. Matt Riddle showed up. He got involved. And Solo Sikoa tried to go for the Samoan spike, but Riddle avoided it. And then the Usos dragged Solo out of the ring as Riddle was gaining the upper hand. Nice little segment here, which set up the main event of the evening. Solo Sikoa versus Matt Riddle. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, would you pay $10 for a flop dollar pay-per-view match? I would not pay $1 for a top dollar match on pay-per-view. Just saying. And Michael Wayne brought this up. We did get a confirmation about the draft. Night 1 will take place 2 weeks from tonight on SmackDown, April 28th in, as Michael Wayne put it, Corpus Christi, Texas, which has the reputation for being the worst WWE town. AEW actually had a hot crowd in Corpus Christi, but not WWE. It's like a graveyard historically whenever WWE goes to Corpus Christi. But more on that in just a few moments. And then, of course, night 2 will be on Raw. May the 1st be with you. We had Xavier Woods versus LA Knight in a singles match. This was a good match. Back and forth here between the two of them. Very competitive. LA Knight ended up trying to cheat by grabbing the tights, and Woods ended up rolling up Knight and winning the match by grabbing the tights. Referee did not see it. Woods was victorious. LA Knight loses again. I mean, they could have done 50-50 booking, but really it should be 100% booking. LA Knight beating Xavier Woods every week. Just saying. I mean, I suppose it's possible that LA Knight will win Money in the Bank, and they're doing the gimmick where the winner jobs out on TV every week before he wins, but I hate that formula. Can't a Money in the Bank winner actually pick up momentum? And the idea here was that Woods just did what LA Knight was doing. LA Knight got what was coming to him. He tried to cheat, and it backfired on him. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, why would people go to his show and just sit there? If they're casual fans, they might not be as invested in the show. They might be people that, well, when SmackDown comes to town. Let's face it, Corpus Christi is not exactly Hollywood or New York City. And when a television show comes to the main arena there, they're like, oh, let's go. Let's have a family night out. But nobody really follows the product that closely. That's my only answer that I feel I can give you as to why people would just go to an event and sit there. Just like if you go to one of those concerts where people are there to see a specific band, but there's like 6 bands on the lineup and they just sit there for the other bands. I've seen that plenty of times. Unless you're like a really hardcore fan, you just might not care that much. And people buy a ticket for SmackDown because it's the so-called best value in entertainment, as they like to proclaim. And families go and, well, they just don't really know what's going on, nor do they care all that much. They're just getting out of the house for a few hours. Domestic Butler sent in a €2 super chat, says, thank you for all the hard work. Much appreciated. And I thank you for tuning in, and thank you to everybody else watching this, whether it's live or on demand. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and spread the word. Tell a friend on social media about the No DQ YouTube channel. Marquand 1976 with a $2 super chat says, is it smart to have the draft before Backlash? I would prefer it to be after Backlash, so you can say, you know what, Backlash is the last show. And either way, it is the last show with the so-called regular rosters that we've had. But I like the idea of doing it afterwards, so then it's really the beginning of a new season. It's kind of awkward when you do the draft and then you have the pay-per-view. I'm not really a big fan of doing it beforehand, but that's what they're doing. Originally, it was rumored to be right after Backlash, which I would have preferred personally. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Much appreciated. Says, LA Knight definitely winning Money in the Bank. WWE always has the eventual winner lose a lot before winning. I hate that. Once book the winner strongly, please. Exactly, Walter. You took the words right out of my mouth. LA Knight should be on a winning streak if he's winning Money in the Bank, not a losing streak. I hated when they did it to Theory and every other guy pretty much before Theory. Now, backstage, Gunther was chatting it up with Imperium in German. Xavier Woods showed up with his trombone, and Gunther said he'll beat some respect into Xavier, which was basically a challenge for the IC title. Xavier Woods gladly accepted because he's never gotten an opportunity at the IC title before. And my guess is this will be one and done for Xavier Woods getting into the IC title picture. Just somebody for Gunther to beat. We had Sami Zayn backstage telling Riddle to be careful, and Kevin Owens was kind of the opposite, saying that Riddle needs to give it his all against Solo Sikoa and not be overly cautious. Riddle said that one thing he does have control over is how much pain he can inflict on Solo Sikoa. We had Judgment Day come into the ring for a promo. They talked about Bad Bunny. Damian Priest said that Bad Bunny can enjoy Backlash as the host, but warned him to not put his hands on family again. And then Damian showed the footage of Bad Bunny getting beat up and put through the table by Damian Priest. We had the LWO sneak attacking Judgment Day, and that set up our singles match, Santos Escobar versus Damian Priest. Very good match here. I would say this was the match of the night. Lengthy match. They had a good amount of time. It was very competitive. And Santos came off with a top rope moonsault. Priest kicked out of that. And that's when Rhea Ripley sensed her man was in trouble. Well, her man is Dominic, but her other man, Damian Priest, So she got on the apron. The LWO went after Dominic, and then Priest attacked the LWO. Santos took advantage of this, but then once again, Rhea Ripley getting involved. She grabbed Santos's foot, and then Zelina Vega went after Rhea Ripley, continuing to tease a match between them. And Priest was able to catch Santos with a kick, finished him off with the South of Heaven chokeslam. Damian Priest won. And then afterwards, Rey Mysterio ran down to the ring, attacked Priest from the crowd, got in the ring, brawled with Dominic, and Damian saved Dominic from the 619, pulling him to safety for the time being. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, should Judgment Day get new members from NXT? I like Judgment Day just as they are. Now, I would not be opposed to adding one more member. It could make somebody's career. Judgment Day is doing that well. One person, maybe. I would not push it beyond that. But if they do not add any more people, I'm fine with the 4-person group as it is. Like, if you add too many people, then that could turn out to be a negative. So maybe one, depending on who that person is. Like, if it's the right person who's the right fit, then I would be okay with it, I think. We had Paul Heyman backstage giving a pep talk to Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman was bringing up all the great Samoans, Yokozuna. I thought he was Japanese. I mean, obviously Samoan, but in kayfabe terms, he was Japanese. And we also got an Umaga reference from Paul Heyman. And then Solo actually talked. And Solo said to tell the tribal chief that he's got this. He's going to take care of Matt Riddle. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Much appreciated. Says, to answer Psycho, simply put, no. It will have the Neo effect eventually and water it all down. Leave it the way it is. I think he meant NWO. Oh, he did. NWO effect. Vintage Walter Cruz typo. We can always rely on Walter for a typo here on a live stream. We had Raquel and Liv Morgan in the ring for a live celebration. And Raquel thanked Liv for sacrificing her body so Liv could use Liv. Raquel could use Liv as a weapon, tossing her out of the ring and such. Raquel said that they are a perfect combo of power and chaos. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green interrupted, and they're mad because Raquel and Liv did not actually beat the true champions. They beat the substitute, Trish Stratus. Chelsea blamed it on Adam Pearce and wanted to know where their opportunity was. Liv and Raquel, of course, had enough of all this rambling, so there was a fight, and Chelsea saved Sonya Deville from oblivion, and next week we're getting a tag team match for the titles, and Raquel and Liv will pick up their first victory as tag team champions. Really, all there is to say about that. Raquel and Liv are the champions, and they're going to run through some teams until Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are ready to challenge for the titles. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho. Says, we're all a part of the AWO, the Aaron World Order. Damn right. You're goddamn right, as Walter White would say. Thank you for that. And we had Shinsuke Nakamura making his return to WWE television for the first time in several months. He has this new black robe that he wore to the ring, and his opponent was Madcap Moss with Emma. Madcap Moss and Emma going heel, Emma said that the fans should be cheering for Moss and tried to tell Moss that Shinsuke has nothing on him, but ended up being pretty much a squash. I mean, it was like a 1 to 2 minute match. Shin won very easily with the Kinshasa. And then after the match was over, Moss attempted to attack Shin, but Shin fought him off, and that was that. So Madcap Moss is a heel, and nobody really cares. Then backstage, we had Scarlett with a tarot card with Shinsuke's picture on it. And Karrion Kross came in and said, TikTok. Karrion Kross randomly targets people when he's got nothing going on and needs a storyline. Basically, that's how it is. Dr. Scorpio sent in a $2.20 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, technically, Judgment Day is Bullet Club purple. This is a hot take, but I think Judgment Day is a way better faction than Bullet Club. I mean, I've never been a fan of Bullet Club to begin with. I always saw them as NWO knockoffs, good wrestlers, but I never really got the appeal of the group and them using the too sweet and the gesture and everything. Like, I was never a big fan. I mean, they were very popular for a while. And how many years have they been doing this now? And kind of feels like it's been running its course more than the New Day. So, yeah, never a big Bullet Club fan. I'm way more into Judgment Day. But then people say, oh, you're just a WWE guy. Just never really got into the Bullet Club, bottom line. If all shows had general managers, who would you pick and who would annoy you if they pick them as general managers? If all the shows had general managers, who would I pick? That's a tough call because there's quite a few people that I would like to see on TV in verbal roles that I feel could benefit the show. And then, of course, there's people that could possibly take away from the show and it might become more about them than the actual people on the show. Hulk Hogan, Bischoff, that sort of thing. I liked Bischoff as general manager, but that obviously ran its course. R-Truth is a general manager. No, I don't think so. I would not be a fan of that. But, MVP might be a good choice, although I still think there's mileage with him as a manager. I'm not really a fan of the heel manager. So we got to think like, who's a good talker in a babyface role that would not overshadow everything else going on? The problem with Steve Austin is that I feel like he kind of overshadowed everybody. Jerry said Xavier Woods when he's done. Like, I would like Wade Barrett if Pat McAfee comes back and does the announcing again, and Wade Barrett doesn't have a spot. Wade Barrett, I think, would be a great general manager. Like, he would be perfect because he could come out there, the bad guy's cheating, and just like you're going one-on-one with the Undertaker that Teddy Long used to say, bad news Barrett could reemerge and come out there and tell the bad guy, I'm afraid I got some bad news for you, and then books him in a match with the top babyface. I think he'd be great. Wade Barrett would be perfect for that role. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, why haven't they changed Madcap Moss's name yet? Great question. If he's going to be a heel and you're going to try to make people care about him, call him Riddick Moss or give him a different first name. I don't know. Matt Cardona should still be wrestling as far as the potential general managers go. I think there's a run in him. I would like to see maybe somebody like Mr. Kennedy in a role as general manager. He's a little bit up there age-wise, so not necessarily in a wrestling role, but Mr. Kennedy coming out there and being a general manager could be some fun. All right. We had a little backstage segment with the Viking Raiders attacking Braun Strowman and Ricochet. And they ended up choke slamming Ricochet through a table. And a tag team match with them was set up for next week's SmackDown. I'm ready for this feud to be over. And I think Strowman needs to be on Raw. Maybe Ricochet too. Give them a change of scenery. They just seem to be doing nothing on SmackDown at the moment. And finally, we had our main event segment of the evening. Matt Riddle with KO and Sami Zayn by his side, going up against Solo Sikoa with the Usos and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman had a little pre-match announcement. In 2 weeks, Corpus Christi, in addition to night one of the draft, we will see the rematch from WrestleMania Saturday, the main event. KO and Sami Zayn will defend against the Usos. Now, this is very interesting because we have Saudi Arabia's event coming up. It's no longer King and Queen of the Ring. Instead, they're calling it Night of Champions, which, if they're sticking to the gimmick, that means every title will be defended, including the tag team titles, presumably. But there's an issue. Sami Zayn has not gone to the Saudi Arabia shows, nor has Kevin Owens. Does that mean we get a title change? The Usos are going to win it back, and this was like a 1-month title run for KO and Sami Zayn? Not sure I like that idea. Like, I feel like it was such a big moment. You got to let them have a solid run with the titles. So we'll see what happens. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat, says, when we're in charge, the GM will be Big Show. Big Show would be good. Obviously, he's under contract to AEW, so that's not going to happen. But I think he'd be fine. The problem with that, though, is, he's a big man, kind of overshadows people. Again, I think they need somebody who can talk, but isn't like too flamboyant and too over the top where they're going to outshine the actual active wrestlers. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat, says, I reported Vince for that stupid name change idea. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, Endeavor representative. Keep up the good work, pal. And I forgot to mention, Paul Heyman had a very interesting line here as well. He talked about the Usos winning back the tag team titles and said that he is, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, is losing patience with the two of you. Now, he was looking over in the direction of the Usos, and the Usos were not looking at Heyman. They thought that Heyman was talking about KO and Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns losing his patience with Owens and Zayn. But Heyman was looking over towards the Usos. So the plot continues to thicken. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Much appreciated. Says, for some reason, I thought Randy Orton's music was about to hit at the end. I know he is hurt and not ready, but the way the angle ended seemed perfect for a return. Maybe in a couple months. I mean, I'm still crossing my fingers that he'll be back soon. There was a comment earlier about Randy maybe being a general manager. I think they should definitely bring back general managers. But again, Randy Orton, I think, would maybe overshine people. Now, if Edge retires and he has his final send-off match and we know he's not coming back, then maybe he would be a good choice. Because if Orton's out there as the general manager, people are going to have expectations of him returning. That's the downside, I think, to using him. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Endeavor thinks the Usos will get the belts back. They might. if WWE is sticking to that Night of Champions gimmick with every title being defended, then very well could happen unless things have changed and Sami Zayn is able to travel to Saudi Arabia. I mean, he might not even want to, and even if he does, will Saudi Arabia be cool with it? That's a big question. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out. Anyways, we had our match, Riddle versus Solo Sikoa. Riddle trying to get some revenge for what happened several months ago when he was injured by Solo. And we had outside interference from the Usos right off the bat. KO and Sami Zayn got over there and had words with the Usos. The referee had to kick everybody out. And we had a back and forth match here. Riddle came off the top with the floating bro. Solo kicked out. And then the Usos returned through the crowd. Owens and Zayn returned. Fight broke out. Riddle did a springboard floating bro or whatever to the outside on the Usos. Went up top, jumped off, but got caught with a kick from Solo. Solo then finished off Riddle with the Samoan spike, which means stupid babyface. Riddle went after the Usos, even though Owens and Zayn were out there. Should have stayed focused on his opponent, and he paid the ultimate price. He lost when he should have gotten his revenge. And then after the match, Solo gave Riddle a Uranagi through the table outside and then dumped the table over Riddle. Solo and the Usos standing tall. Good match. Not a fan of the stupid baby face, but they booked Solo very strongly, as they've been doing for the most part. Marquand 1976 sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says Adam Pearce is too incompetent to GM one show, let alone two. I like Adam Pearce a lot, and I still think he should be like the mediator, and he kind of oversees both shows as like a supervisor. But I definitely think they should bring back general managers if they want to make this brand split authentic, or at least feel authentic. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, if Vince is in charge, it would be Edge versus Baron Corbin as far as Edge's retirement match goes. Yeah, you might be right on that one. Corbin can be the guy that retires all the legends and still nobody cares about him. Would not shock me. Endeavor Representative sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I'm reporting this show as a D+ to management. If Vince thinks I'm not watching, then he's badly mistaken. WWE is on very thin ice with Endeavor. Well, I am going to go higher than a D+. I thought it was a pretty good show, but not great. I think B- is fair. I thought that it was mostly a setup for 2 weeks and even next week's show. Wrestling was good. We did have some good matches this week. So yeah, it was decent, but I did feel like it was somewhat of a skippable show. Anyways, that's all I got for SmackDown. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate it very much. NoDQ.com for the latest wrestling news and rumors. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Weekend's actually just starting, so enjoy your weekend. Take care, everybody. Sometimes I forget it's Friday, not Saturday. And I will be back on Sunday night with the No DQ review. I'm sure it'll be an interesting discussion. Some interesting news this week. Rumblings about CM Punk coming back. I'm sure we'll be talking about that and other topics. Tune in this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Take care, everybody. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.